Thank you so much. Thank you, Michael. And it feels so great just to be 30 miles from home, I have to tell you. I am Kelly Kraft. I grew up in Barron County. My father was a veterinarian, a proud veteran, and a farmer. My mom was a school teacher, home economics. And it was the most important piece of furniture in my family, the kitchen table. And that is where I learned from both my parents hard work, our faith in God, and doing right by our neighbor. And it's those qualities, that hard work, faith in God, and doing right by my neighbor, that President Trump appointed me as the first female ambassador to Canada, where we ripped up NAFTA. I negotiated the largest trade deal in the history of America, USMCA, which brought thousands of jobs to the state of Kentucky and saved hundreds of thousands of jobs in the United States from going to China and Mexico. And when Ambassador Nikki Haley resigned, he asked me to serve at the United Nations. Why? Because I could negotiate, and he knew that I would need to negotiate with Middle East countries to normalize with Israel. He also knew that I would stand up to the Chinese Communist Party, so much so that I am now sanctioned for the rest of my life because I recognized very early on they were stealing our intellectual property, our electronic communications. They're buying farmland in Kentucky, producing fentanyl, human rights trafficking, and human rights abuses. And it's that kitchen table that I've taken across the state of Kentucky. And I've been listening because I've been crisscrossing this entire state. And what I'm hearing are what I am going to lead on, because what I'm going to talk about are things that I've done, I've created, and I've lived it. Education. My mom was a teacher. We are very engaged in education. My husband and I co-founded the Craft Academy. We love nothing more than to be just like the Gatton Academy here. And I will tell you what parents are worried about. They're worried about their children's education. And parents need to have the right to be involved in their children's education. And children need to have the right to have their parents. So what am I going to do? My first official act is I'm going to dismantle the Kentucky Department of Education. I'm going to take it apart and put it back together, because there are great people in the Kentucky Department of Education. They've just been silenced. They've been silenced by this woke Commissioner Glass. And you know, right, if he does the right thing on the day after the election, he's going to resign. Because if not, then I'm going to do the right thing, and on Inauguration Day, I'm going to fire him. We need to make certain that our children are taught skills and knowledge. I've never seen a child take an exam for the military academy on critical race theory. We have to make certain that our teachers who have a passion to teach, we have the smartest students in the state of Kentucky, that they have a quality education, that they regain skills and knowledge so that they can be into the workforce and reach their full potential. And we need to make certain that parents are engaged with teachers about their children. And then I'm hearing about the workforce. My family has created thousands of jobs in the state of Kentucky in the coal industry, our most abundant natural resource. We have also created jobs in the supply chain around that. I know how to create jobs. I negotiated the largest trade deal in the history of America. I have the contacts to bring into Kentucky. We not only compete with 49 states, we compete with the rest of the world. And I have told the governors in the southern states, I'm going to introduce a third new sport into the SEC, and it's called the economy. We are no longer going to lose from Tennessee. We are so happy when we win on the football field and the basketball court. Well, guess what? We're going to win in the economy. We're going to make Kentucky number one. We're going to be first at the table, not last at the table. We're going to introduce our young adults when they're freshmen in high school to choices of education, college, community college, trade school certification. So whatever it is that your child decides when they're a senior, it's not a last resort. Matter of fact, if you choose traditional trade school certification, whatever it may be, we're going to celebrate that like it's a full ride scholarship to the University of Western. How about it? And your workforce participation. One of the biggest problems is we have to focus on what is abundant in Kentucky. I've just been down in a coal mine a month ago, and I can tell you there are no prouder workers than Kentucky coal miners. What does coal do for our state? It produces low-cost utility. I sit with parents in eastern Kentucky who already have the highest rates. They're trying to make a decision on buying groceries or paying for their electricity. Low-cost energy attracts industry. Low-cost energy keeps our utility bills down. It helps build up our small businesses. And drugs. I know about drugs. I had a child that was addicted, and I thank God every day that she's a healthy young woman. But I had that empty chair. I had it when she was there because she was high. I had it when she ran away from home, and then I had it when I had to have her arrested. I do not want another family, and every family I have met in the state of Kentucky has felt. They have felt someone in their family be affected by drugs. I went down to that border, and let me tell you, it is easier to get into a UK basketball game, and that border is wide open. We have to have a full court press because there's no silver bullet. And I'm going to tell you one thing. We are going to support our law enforcement when they make an arrest. There's going to be no cashless bail. There's going to be no slap on the wrist. We are going to have a full court press. And if you are a drug trafficker, and if you are in the cartel, or you are someone who gives our children, our grandchildren drugs, and it costs their life, in my book, that's the death penalty. I do not want another family to suffer. And the drugs are affecting our education. They're affecting our workforce participation. They're affecting the fabric of our state. So we're going to have a full court press. We're going to engage our ministers, our boys and girls clubs, our mentors, our coaches, our teachers, our doctors, our neighbors. We are all going to be in this together. And we're going to engage our media. We have to hold you accountable to make certain that we keep drugs from every part of our state. I have been there, but I have never been in politics. I've never run for office. I'm not using this position to get to another elected office. I have never been owned by special interest, and I will never be owned by special interest. I will be your governor. There will be no Washington establishment running my office. I see a job that needs to be done, and I know something about jobs. I'm going to fight for each of you, and I ask you to join me in this movement so that our children and our grandchildren can have a quality education, remove this woke liberal left ideology, that we can build up our workforce because we're going to have our children who have a quality education and a future, and we're going to stop these drugs from coming over this border because Kentucky, we're going to be the first at the table, we're going to lift the bar high, and we're going to reach it together. Thank you so much. God bless you, and God bless America.